nasty, foul, or misleading, upfront fees have gotten that reputation. Now, in case you didn't know, upfront fees have traditionally been seen as a good indicator or a clear sign of a potential scam in overseas basketball. But today I want players to question that thought process so that they can have a better idea of whether upfront fees are actually such a bad thing or not. So why are upfront fees considered a bad thing? Well, the main reason, plain and simple, is because FIBA says so. So traditionally, in years past, what happened was that FIBA certified agents had to collect their commission fee, meaning the agent's commission fee, from the team itself. Now, this recently changed, and now FIBA agents are allowed to collect the commission fee from the player themselves, but that is only after a deal has actually transpired. That's only after a deal has been made. So even to this day, FIBA looks down upon and essentially bars the practice of accepting an upfront fee from a player or from a team prior to a deal actually being made. Now, if FIBA is seen as the industry standard in overseas basketball, then everybody's going to look to them for guidance. Everyone is going to look to them as the benchmark of what they should and shouldn't do. So if FIBA is saying that this is how FIBA licensed agents collect their payments, meaning they don't do it through an upfront fee pay structure, but they do it through a post-negotiation structure, other people are obviously going to follow that lead. When you look at other industries, this isn't always the case. So for instance, if you were to hire a lawyer for a civil lawsuit case, you would have to pony up and pay that lawyer a certain amount even to present the case in the courtroom. Whereas in overseas basketball, say a basketball agent wanted to represent me, they could be working for me for months and months and months and not receive payment. But during that whole time, what's happening is that they are investing their labor into looking for a job for me. They are investing their hours in looking for a job for me. They are investing in opportunity costs, meaning they could be doing other things, making money in other ways. So it's very interesting that in overseas basketball, in FIBA certified agents, that there is actually no upfront fee for these agents. Nowadays, this has evolved much more because now there are more people than ever that understand that basketball is exploding, especially overseas basketball, and there are more players than ever who want to get their start in this game. That is why scammers have just exploded in this industry, and they prey on the dreams of these players. And oftentimes what will happen is they will almost always, these scammers, they will ask for an upfront fee because that is how they get you. They'll say that they need a visa fee. They'll say that they need medical insurance. They'll say that they need some sort of flight tourist visa, something like that. And they'll say that they'll reimburse you after the fact once you land in the country. But you never land in the country and they just take your money. But they got it through asking for the upfront fee. Today, if someone asks you for an upfront fee, it's almost assumed that it is shady or it is a scam or there is something going on there. So the logical question then becomes, if upfront fees are bad and everyone in the industry views them as a bad thing or something that you shouldn't do, then why do people keep on doing it? And why do players keep on falling for this trick? So to understand the first part of the question, you have to understand who is probably going to be asking for these upfront fees. Usually it's going to be a street agent, someone who's not certified by FIBA, but who may still leverage and broker deals for overseas players. And it could be a connector, someone who's not necessarily in the business of representing or helping players get contracts, but they are able to connect coaches to players and they know a lot of people within the industry. Then there's also coaches themselves. Coaches will sometimes place players, but they will ask for an upfront fee for their efforts because of what I was saying earlier, that it takes time, it takes investment. And the other one is players. It's no secret that in general, overseas basketball players are going to struggle financially, especially at the mid and low tier levels. So a lot of players have side hustles, which I am wholeheartedly advocating for. And one of those are going to be representing other players, trying to put other players on. I know multiple players right now who run a little mini agency. They're not actually certified, but it's like a street agency where they are getting players jobs overseas and they're asking for an upfront fee for the time that they're investing in finding these jobs. So if all these different types of people know that an upfront fee is something that is not fondly looked upon, why do they keep doing it? Well, the main reason, again, has to do with FIBA. So to become a FIBA certified agent, you have to complete two things. You need to take a licensing test, which traditionally is in Miami, and Switzerland. And then you also have to pay a yearly membership. First part of that, the test alone is going to be thousands of dollars because you have to pay for your flight there and back. You may have to book a hotel. There's going to be food costs, travel costs. Then you have to actually book the test itself. All of that is going to add up to a couple of $1,000s. More important than that though is the yearly membership. So all FIBA certified agents have to pay a yearly membership fee. It could change, it could go up and down in the future, but the point is it's not an insignificant amount of change. So unless you are actually making and brokering a certain amount of deals and you're getting a commission as a FIBA certified agent, then it really doesn't make sense for you to even be a FIBA licensed agent. For instance, if it costs $2,000 to be a FIBA licensed agent every year, but you're only pulling in $500 consistently from your deals, then there isn't really much of a mathematical justification for you becoming a FIBA agent, unless you're looking long-term to the future and you think that there could be a potential breakthrough for you. So for that reason, a lot of these people, street agents, connectors, coaches, players, they really don't see a point and a purpose in going through the hassle of becoming a FIBA certified agent. Some of them, a lot of them, will want to just do it passively. They may have a coach come to them here or there. They may ask for a player here or there, and then they can just passively kind of make a couple of extra bucks on the side. But it's not really going to be their full-time thing. Even though upfront fees are frowned upon, the alternative doesn't really make sense for them, because if you're only doing it a few times a year, what's the point of doing a net negative? Meaning you're losing money in the end. So you have to consider it from their perspective as well. So does this mean that we should just be paying upfront fees to anyone and everyone because there's no longer bad people with it? No, of course not. There are going to be people who continuously scam through the upfront fee, and there's going to be people who don't scam through an upfront fee. My OGs, they taught me from the start that an upfront fee is a scam. It's a scam. But I'm starting to question this because of all of these different reasons that I laid out. And also you have to consider how much more global basketball is, how much more connected people are, how much more easier it is to make connections and build relationships and rapport and have people potentially put you on who are on the other side of the world. Now, the main thing in all of this is for players to practice one thing: due diligence. Meaning, whether you go with a FIBA certified agent or you go with a street agent or a non-FIBA certified person, you have to do your due diligence on what that person has actually accomplished. Because here's the thing with FIBA agents: the barrier of entry to become a FIBA agent is so low that anyone can really do it. All you need to do, as mentioned earlier, is pass a licensing test and pay a yearly membership fee. So that means you don't need experience in the market. You don't need to be a former professional player. You don't need to be a former professional coach. You don't need to go through an internship. You don't need to work at an agency previously. There is really very few things that you actually need to do to become a FIBA certified agent. So for instance, if I worked at McDonald's, I could quit my job, study to become a FIBA licensed agent, and become one whenever the next testing period is. Now, does that mean I'll have connections in the market? No. Does that mean people will respect me? No, because no one knows who I am. So the point being that just because you're a FIBA certified agent, that doesn't necessarily mean that you bring any power to a client, to a player. So instead of looking at it through FIBA certified and non-FIBA certified, look at it through who are they working with? How many success stories do they have? What markets are they in? What college levels do they work with? Perhaps just as important is how many scam stories do they have? Where there's smoke, there could be fire. So if you hear multiple people saying to you, it's a scam, ask those questions. Ask what happened, what were you promised, what didn't they deliver on? So a good rule of thumb that I have found over the years from players over and over again is if you are new to the game, and you just want to play it safe and you really are not sure who to trust or anything about the overseas game, I would say just try to go with a FIBA certified agent or self-represent. I would personally stay away from the street agents or connectors or anyone like that who's trying to connect you to something and they want an upfront fee. You at that experience level don't really even know what is a good opportunity and what isn't a good opportunity for the most part. Some players will, but for the most part, players are just kind of wide-eyed and not really sure where they're supposed to go. So if you are a beginner in overseas basketball, then a FIBA certified agent is the way to go, in my opinion, if you are fortunate enough to get one. If you are not though, and you are seasoned in the game and you have built connections for years, then there are so many veterans and players of multiple years pro experience who work with connectors, who work with street agents, and they just get a commission off of it because they understand how to identify a scammer, how to identify a good opportunity, and most importantly, they have a network in place in the community. So upfront fees, maybe not as simple as first thought. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Hoops Unknown. If you got value from the program, go ahead and leave a rating on Spotify or a thumbs up on YouTube, as they both help with discoverability. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next episode, and remember, it takes more. Peace.